Loading. All right.
All right, are we live?
I think so.
Alrighty. Well, for those of you who are tuning in here on YouTube or tuning in later, we're very happy to have you here. As you all know, we've not only got Hope Zamansky here, who is helping out here with client success and helping out with all of you out there when you're usually going through customer support. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicholas Merton. I'm the founder and CEO of Digifox. And today we're going to be doing a really exciting webinar where we're going to be covering a lot of great topics throughout not only Digifox as an application, but also dive into the main topic of decentralized finance. Now, I just wanted to share one quick thing. Unfortunately, we were planning to do an in-app walkthrough today, but we're actually going through on our engineering department on a pretty big maintenance overhaul in regards to getting a fix in for Celsius so even more people can get through properly on the KYC process. So I'm not going to be able to do that tonight. However, we'll be going through some slides here in regards to the new Digifox 2.0 upgrade that many of you have probably heard about by now, whether it's through the announcements that we've sent out or on my channel. So I want to go ahead and send some beautiful mock-ups here within this presentation to you all so you can get a good glimpse into some of the major feature releases that we have. We're also going to be talking about what is DeFi. I know a lot of people out there are curious to learn a little bit more about what DeFi or decentralized finance really is. And we'll also be talking a little bit as well about some Q&As that we got from the community and diving into our Invest in Yourself challenge, where we're giving away up to $20,000 in prizes for those of you who are simply saving for your own financial future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. What you're seeing here on the screen is a beautiful overview of everything relatively new within the update. We're going to dive in straight into some of these key features one by one. So the first thing you're going to find in the new Digifox update is basically what we call portfolio charts and real-time pricing. So one of the great things about Digifox as an application is it's an all-in-one home for your financial assets and the digital crypto space. So if you're holding Bitcoin, if you're holding Ethereum, if you're holding a variety of different ERC20 tokens that you're swapping in and out of, you want to make sure you can track your balance. You want to track your interest income. And the great thing is with Digifox and Digifox 2.0, we've just added this in to the application. We originally actually had charts way back in the alpha version of Digifox, but we decided in the final version to cut it out until we could actually get it absolutely right, have real-time pricing, and really add detail to the chart as well as some real-time pricing. As the balance moves up and down, the numbers tick up and down like a traditional ticker symbol, and it just feels really good. It's a part of what we call live UX that just overwhelmingly makes the experience much better. So we're very, very excited about that. And you can interval between the different time frames in order to actually see how your balance has performed over different time frames. Another thing as well that we've got here in Digifox 2.0 is slippage controls and our improved swap experience. So a lot of you out there have shown us very clearly, we took thousands of tickets from the customer support, and we heard very clearly that a lot of you out there care most about swaps. You want to swap between different tokens in the space, and who can blame you? The market's absolutely insane right now. There's a lot of interesting things going on in crypto. So what we wanted to make sure we did was not only simplify the swap experience, which we did, and you'll be able to see within the application once we're back online. But along with that as well, we also have slippage protection, something that can be quite difficult to understand at first, but basically is preventing you from taking any severe immediate loss if you're trying to trade too much of an illiquid token, a token in this case that might be a small cap cryptocurrency or may not have much liquidity available through our provider Uniswap or other decentralized exchanges. In this case, we're doing our best to make sure we protect you, not only making sure that your order goes through, but along with that, that you don't take any severe permanent loss when you trade. Some exchanges don't have this protection in place, so we'll just fill your market order. But we want to make sure you get a successful rate when you make your swaps. Along with this as well, we had a lot of people say, Nick, I really want to see in this case a full sweeping overview of all the things I'm doing. If it's an all-in-one finance app, I want to have transaction history. Well, we built it. We're really excited to have this feature because it's something that for me, as someone who loves transparency, someone who wants to know the flow of funds, in this case, transaction history is a major update, and it helps cover all of your activities from when you're making deposits, when you're making withdrawals, when you're making swaps in the app, or if you're sending or receiving crypto to an external wallet or from an external wallet. So it's very, very exciting to see this. And we also are transparent about the fees that we charge. You can even verify it as well on Etherscan. So you don't have to trust us. Go ahead and check out the Block Explorer to see the transactions real time, whether you're dealing with cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, or in this case, if you're dealing with ERC20 token stablecoins. Now, the last major thing here that I want to talk about is our upgraded community tab. Now, within this slide here, there's a lot of things to keep in mind. We not only have our big holiday invest in yourself challenge, something that we've done in the past, but we've never done this big before. And we've already had thousands upon thousands of entries from those of you in the community making deposits through our partner Celsius and the app. But along with that, we've got achievements. And achievements give you a great way to be able to boost your chances for challenges while also getting your, kind of a basic kind of grapple on how Digifox works as an application, getting a great starting point, going through some of the basic features on the platform. So we're really excited about achievements, the upgraded challenges, and we're hoping to have even more as we go throughout the future. But something that I think is probably most exciting to a lot of you guys with the launch of Digifox 2.0 is a new list of tradable tokens within the app. We've added, in this case, 7 new tokens to the swap feature within Digifox. We've added DMG, or in this case, DMM, DeFi Money Market, DHedge token, the governance token for DHedge. We've added Hedgic, Base, Ray, Aave, the new token from the original Lend protocol, and then API 3. So we've got a lot of big tokens, especially in the DeFi and Oracle space. A lot of people have been asking for. We listened to you in the community. We did some quality research, made sure that we vetted and had some good projects on the standard list. And we've got a big announcement coming soon in regards to the ability to trade an even wider range of tokens. Right now, you can trade over 55 tokens, more than 55 tokens on the platform. And we're going to have even more coming later on this year into 2021. So we're very, very excited about that. But we'll have more details on that in the future. So let's go ahead and dive into what many of you are here to see. And that is, what is DeFi? Because like all things crypto, we're always constantly getting confused by the lingo. The space loves to be very kind of elusive and overcomplicated because it makes it feel exclusive. But overall, DeFi is actually quite simple to understand. We're going to break it down here over the next 15 minutes. So first off, the important question is, what is DeFi? Well, simply put, DeFi in this case stands for a term known as decentralized finance. And the simple way to think about it is that it's an umbrella term that defines a wide range of different projects in the cryptocurrency space that focus in this case on expanding opportunities, removing middlemen, and along with this as well, giving everyone equal access to financial opportunities. And that's the critical point to keep in mind here. DeFi at its core is really much better defined by the term open finance, giving everyone equitable access to the best opportunities on the market, being able to allocate your capital where you want to, being able to earn hopefully the highest interest rate possible, and also being able to send and receive money anywhere across the globe. It's something that on a moral level, I think a lot of people can resonate with, but it's a core principle for us at Digifox as we aim to build the all-in-one finance app that plugs in the best opportunities on the market, whether it be related to crypto or not. So again, I want to emphasize, we generally tend to use the term open finance. DeFi is much more widely used, but we think open finance is much better. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the applications of Digifox, and more specifically, the applications of DeFi that we tap into. So we don't tap into all these applications, but DeFi is pretty wide ranging. It'd be difficult for any single app to plug into all applications, and more than anything might provide a bit too much complexity in the process. So we try to focus on the applications that are most relevant to the everyday user. So there's really 3 major categories of DeFi that have really started to shape themselves up and provide a real value proposition. The first one is lending and borrowing protocols, exchanges, and derivatives. So we'll dive into this individually here. So for lending and borrowing protocols, think about this as a replacement for your traditional bank. We have providers such as Celsius, which are custodial platforms that hold your assets and pay high rates of interest as they lend it out to borrowers. Along with that as well, Compound, who does the same exact service, but all through an autonomous smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain. And along with that as well, Aave, which does it in a very similar nature to Compound. And we'll talk about the dichotomy between more centralized finance or CeFi versus DeFi, such as Compound and Aave, later on within the presentation. We've also got providers like Uniswap or Kyber Network or Balancer that give users the ability to be able to swap in and out of different types of assets without having to trust a centralized exchange or broker in order to process the trade. This is absolutely revolutionary because it leads generally to lower fees and along with that as well, more access to opportunities, as well as one of the most unmentioned benefits, which is that in the case of Uniswap and Kyber and Balancer, so long as the code is sound and it's running on the Ethereum blockchain, it's never down. That's the great thing about DeFi. And we've been seeing that a lot as the crypto market's been heating up. A lot of traditional exchanges have been having issues maintaining their traditional server architecture. Everything's living on Ethereum. When you make a transaction on Ethereum, Ethereum's running 24/7. Now, the last thing here is derivatives. It can include things like hedging or insurance, a variety of different things. So we have things, for example, like synthetics, which generates or gives you the ability to generate synthetic assets on the platform. So you could have synthetic Tesla shares, you could have synthetic gold, you could have synthetic Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe a 50-50 split. We have Hedgic as well, which gives you the ability to place call or put options on Ethereum and other different types of assets. And outside of that as well, Nexus Mutual, which acts as an insurance provider on smart contracts. So these are just a few of the different applications out there in the DeFi space. There's hundreds more that I'm not going to have the time to talk about today, but these are the three core value propositions. Platforms that allow you to borrow and also gain yield on your crypto, exchanges that allow you to make swaps, and derivatives that allow you to hedge and position yourself similar to decentralized exchanges. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about something that's very important here because especially when it comes to Digifox, we plug into two major providers for deposits, and that's Celsius and Compound. And this is an important discussion to have when we're talking about DeFi, or as we reference to it as open finance. The scale of CeFi to DeFi, centralized finance to decentralized finance. So what are the differences here between these two terms? So centralized finance usually involves still some type of custodial provider who's providing you a great market rate or some kind of service, but is still managing custody of your assets or is serving as a data provider or some kind of middleman to make sure that overall the process is still running smoothly. And along with that as well, we've got things on the right-hand side with DeFi, such as Compound, which are basically autonomous through and through. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the benefits and the cons of each of these. So first off, for Celsius here, being an example of CeFi, they're serving as a custodian or holder of your assets. So this is like a traditional bank or exchange. They're holding your assets and servicing it out to borrowers. Now, to a lot of people, this can cause some fear in this case because a lot of people want to own their own crypto and they're not maybe certain about the security practices that Celsius takes. It's important to note the only reason we integrate to them is because they use industry-leading security practices to protect your funds. So you should be fine with Celsius. But the big thing here that's a big selling point here for Celsius as a platform is that because there's an actual human team on board helping to make sure things run smoothly, the best benefit is that they can do something known as balancing the books. When they notice that there's a large influx of, in this case, depositors or people saving to earn interest, they can go out and seek borrowers and vice versa. And this allows them to maintain steady, high interest rates for depositors while also maintaining decent rates for borrowers in the process, maintaining a thin spread and benefiting both parties. Now, in the case of Compound, it's fully decentralized through smart contracts. That's great. And in this case, you're not having to put as much trust in a centralized institution to custody your assets. However, the important thing to note here is that even though you have that boosted decentralization, one big problem is that Compound cannot balance the books, at least not at the moment. And this has led to massive influxes and declines in the interest rates where there's not much consistency on the rates for crypto deposited in Compound. Again, it's more decentralized, which is definitely a selling point. But again, not as functionable or providing the ability to get such a yield on your assets as Celsius usually does. Celsius usually pays anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 times more on its rates for the assets. And along with that as well, Celsius can support non-ERC20 tokens. Compound in this case only supports native assets on Ethereum. But again, just keeping in line the pros and cons here with both of them. Now, the major thing that's important to understand is that DeFi is rapidly expanding. And don't feel like you're too late here. I've been following DeFi as far back as 2017, before there was even a term for it. And in this case, as you can see, DeFi really has only shaped up here in 2020. At the start of the year, we started at around a $680 million valuation in total value locked up in DeFi protocols. And now we're sitting just below, I think the actual official number now is around $14.6 billion in total value locked up. Absolutely incredible. And again, I think in this case, we're going to see this number continue to grow as we build more functional applications and we make it easier for people to use in the long run, which is absolutely what Digifox is all about. Now, for the quick pitch here for DeFi in this case, if you're looking to just understand the basics here, go ahead and give you the quick pitch. So if you're introducing to a family member or friend, these could be some good points you could share. The first big benefit of DeFi is more competition leading to better finance. Simply put, there are a ton of different protocols in the crypto space that can give you interest rates 50 to 100 times more than your bank. It shows just how much the traditional financial system has left people behind. When banks are walking away with 20, 25% profit margins, yet they're paying the depositors who make up the banks practically nothing. The average savings rate in the US is 0.06%. And it's sometimes maybe slightly better or slightly worse in other areas across the world as we're starting to charter into the phenomenon of negative interest rates, which just doesn't make sense whatsoever. But that's what the state of the economy is in right now. And along with that as well, paying lower fees, getting access to services any time of the day. This is what DeFi is all about, and providing the best services possible in order to attract new users to the protocols. Next up, less complexity and more autonomy. You want to be your own bank and hold your own assets. You want to maybe, for example, earn interest on your crypto, but not have to trust an entity to hold those assets or an exchange. You can choose to do so. That's a great thing. When it comes to Digifox, we have the ability to have a Digifox Pro account. And simply put, that is a fully autonomous way where you get to choose where your money goes from the point where you control it. And that's the great thing about DeFi as a whole, is having absolute access and control over your funds. And last but not least, open and equitable access. So what do I mean by this? I mean, I know it sounds like a feel-good term, but guys, for us personally, this is something that we hold really dear to heart, and we can't emphasize enough is an extremely big thing for humanity going into the 21st century. If we can live in a world where someone in Nigeria has the exact same financial opportunity as someone here like myself in the United States, it is going to open up an entire window of opportunity and economic value that we have yet to see in the 21st century. Whether it's having your wealth in a stable currency like dollars or in emerging assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum, being able to make trades, being able to get access to credit or mortgages or student loans, whatever it may be, we need to be able to broaden that access of financial services to everyone in the world, equalizing the playing field as much as possible while also keeping in line with regulations and checks and balances. But overall, we're very, very excited for that future, and we're building to make it happen and play our role in the overall DeFi movement. So if DeFi is so great, what's the problem with it? Well, just like much of crypto over the last decade, crypto has a lot of great technology. The problem is it's just simply too difficult to use and manage. And let's be honest, guys, we're at less than 1% crypto adoption. Again, I want to emphasize that point. If you're here, you're early in the space. I know we just had Bitcoin breaking above 20K today. I know that ETH and a lot of other cryptocurrencies are rallying at the moment. And a lot of people are wondering, am I late to this? No, you're not. You're early on. We haven't even gone through our dot-com bubble equivalent for the internet. And that's the important thing to keep in mind, is that things are so early on. And because of that, the user experience is quite lackluster on a lot of applications. Well, That's where Digifox comes in. We aim to be the absolute all-in-one solution you need in order to tap into crypto, DeFi, and eventually all your financial activities. We're not there just yet, to be completely fair, as we're a new startup on the block. But after launching for just 6 months with the launch of Digifox 2.0, we've taken it up a notch here in this case to prove that we're here to stay, that we're a competitive leading application for DeFi and other services, and that we're going to pave the way in order to build better finance for everyone across the globe. So again, I highly recommend in this case, if you haven't checked it out yet, check out our website, learn a little bit about it. And later on tonight, you can check out the application once we're back online. Now, I want to go ahead and dive into getting started with DeFi because I know there's a lot of general questions that we've gotten from the community. And luckily, we were able to take some of them from an online forum where we asked you guys to give us your honest questions, and I would run through them here. So the first question here is why, since Digifox so heavily promotes the term DeFi and its relation to DeFi, do we also promote Celsius, a centralized platform? And again, as I emphasized earlier, this is a very fair point here. And again, this is why we kind of focus on the term open finance, because we're all about more than anything providing you the opportunity to have choice. If you go simply through utilizing something like MetaMask and you're interacting with DeFi protocols, or you're just going through the Celsius app, I mean, those are great. But the problem is that you don't have a simple dashboard to get access to both opportunities. We believe that everyone should have open choice to choose if they want to have their assets custodied or in a autonomous smart contract where there's not as much trust involved, but possibly maybe not as much yield. That's the key goal with Digifox. And you'll see that we have this kind of blend between CeFi and DeFi as time progresses. Or we might offer traditional exchange services where you do go through a traditional exchange or broker. It's just, again, what people want. And that's all we're about here at Digifox. And I think that's the winning success formula in the long term to build the best financial app possible. So next up here, when looking for new DeFi projects to invest in, what are some important things to look for and to look out for when it comes to scams? This is a very good question, guys. There's a lot of great companies and projects working in the crypto and DeFi space. There's also a lot of bad actors as well. That's why Digifox almost kind of serves as a filter on the crypto space to make sure that you're working with the best service providers and have the ability to swap into some of the most well-vetted and well-respected tokens in the space, but also still being able to capture those early opportunities in the market before they go mainstream. So the biggest thing I would say overall, when you're looking for good DeFi projects and you're trying to maybe, for example, filter out the bad players, one thing that seems a bit technical, but is really actually quite simple to check on, is to see whether or not the DeFi protocols that you're interested in, maybe for example, platforms like Compound or Uniswap, have gone through security audits. And that sounds like a very fancy term, but it's basically large, well-accredited institutions that do audits on the actual code that make these protocols work on the Ethereum blockchain to spot any potential bugs, any potential breaches, any potential vectors for attackers or hackers to steal funds. And one of the great things as well, too, is you can use a very simple formula to see whether or not a DeFi protocol is more likely to be secure than not. And in the case of Compound or Uniswap, where it does depend in some kind of capacity or portion that people are depositing funds onto the contract, whether in the case of Uniswap being a liquidity provider to make swaps possible for other users, or on Compound for people to deposit and earn interest or to borrow and they have to lock up collateral. In this manner, the more assets that are on a protocol for the longest period of time, it likely means that there's not a breach in the code, that there's no way for hackers to tamper, because there'd likely be an incentive to try to withdraw from that contract and steal the funds. So that's the great thing overall. We know some players in the space that are well audited, open source, open to criticism, and the code is so sound and confident that anyone can read how it works. That's the cool thing. It's just like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, I've got another question here. What is a smart contract wallet? Again, more fancy terminology in the crypto space. This is what we commonly refer to as Digifox Pro. It's a Digifox Pro wallet that allows you to be the self-custody, or basically your own custodial manager of your cryptocurrency assets. So whether you're holding stable coins, whether you're owning Ethereum or your favorite altcoin, all of them can be owned from within your Digifox smart wallet. Now, to explain what it is versus a traditional crypto wallet that some people might be familiar with, is it's a wallet on the Ethereum blockchain that allows you to be able to re-authenticate or reactivate your account, whether it's on the same phone or another device, by utilizing your phone number and email. And what we basically do is we send two unique 6-digit codes to your phone and email that are tied to the account. Once you, and of course, in this case, input them when you're recovering your account. And in that matter, if you can confirm both of them, you basically have an hour in this case where the account generation process begins, and then you'll have access back to your crypto, just like you did before. And this is really great because traditionally, if you wanted to store your crypto in a decentralized way and be your own custodian, you had to write down a 12 to 24 word seed phrase that if you didn't write it down in the first place, or if you lost it, hate to say it, your crypto is gone forever. This has been the poor user experience that's been existing in the crypto space for a long time. Well over 90 to 95% of people who were downloading these wallets don't end up writing down their seed phrase. It's just impractical for the everyday user who's on the go trying to get access to crypto and DeFi. And it's why they've opted for things like traditional centralized exchanges. But we don't want that. We want to be as decentralized as possible from the get-go. And that's why we have this focus on smart contract wallets.
Yeah, and then just to clarify, Digifox is a smart contract wallet, yes?
Yes, it depends in this case. So Digifox, if you have Digifox Pro in this case, eventually it will be free. The problem is that there is a cost in order to generate those wallets. So luckily going into the holidays, into the new year, we're actually doing free smart contract wallet generation, or basically upgrades to Digifox Pro. So you can do that from within the app. But in the future, it's going to cost a little bit in that case, as it does actually cost us a bit to broadcast that on the Ethereum network. It's a smart contract, just like how Uniswap and Compound are smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah.
But you can, along with that as well, if you don't want to pay that cost later down the line and stuff, and you're not looking to swap or use Compound and just use Celsius, you can just register a Celsius account as well.
So. That kind of leads into the next question.
Yeah, that's actually very ironic here in this case. So, so on the next question, getting started with DeFi, someone asked, how is Digifox different than Celsius? And what are the benefits to Digifox Pro? So I know we already kind of laid into some of the points here about Digifox Pro being able to tap into swaps through our provider Uniswap, being able to also deposit through Compound, all simply from your mobile device, as well as sending transactions. But the other major thing here is Celsius. It's one of our biggest service providers we have integrated directly in the app, where you're in the same rates as Celsius. It's even, in our opinion, it's an even more simplified experience on an already great platform. We're big fans of Celsius. The one benefit I would say here, above all, with Celsius on Digifox is that we've got a few things. First off, if you have a Digifox Pro account in this case, having access to swapping functionality, being able to also tap into competing protocols like Compound, so you have more choice on where you allocate your capital, that's a big benefit. More choice for the user that you just won't find on Celsius, that is a service provider itself. We're more of an aggregation platform, providing the best service providers all in one place, so you don't have to have a dozen different applications. Second off as well is that we've also got great in-app customer support, and that's not to say that Celsius doesn't, but we have our team here that can help you in a lot of different facets of your activities. So that's another big benefit. And above all as well, the great thing is that we have streamlined the onboarding experience for Celsius, so that, for example, when you've created your account and you make the deposit, we have fiat on-ramps where you can, from multiple regions across the world, deposit Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies into your Celsius account. And when you're ready to withdraw, you can go ahead and move it over to your Digifox Pro wallet, make a swap. You can put it into Compound, etc., or send it to another wallet address outside your Digifox wallet. So that's the big goals overall. It's just to make sure that you have more opportunities from one singular application. And again, I want to emphasize to any of the providers we have in the app, we're big fans of them. That's why we have them integrated. We want to give you guys the best service providers possible, but hopefully all from one application. So you're not having to juggle so many different things. Finance is already more complex, or it's already complex enough as is in this case. We don't need to make it even more complex. All righty. So we get another question here. How can someone participate in Digifox's Invest in Yourself challenge if they've already had a separate Celsius account outside of Digifox? It's actually a really great question. So you can always actually register a second Celsius account through your Digifox wallet. And if you have any issues when you're doing the process, that's actually why we're doing some maintenance tonight here for Digifox. You always are welcome to reach out to our support team, whether it's at digifox.finance, our official website, or to the in-app customer support. So again, you're welcome to have 2 accounts. There's no problem, and you're going to get the same features and functionality as the core Celsius wallet in the sense of the like-kinded interest, where if you deposit USDC, you get, in this case, around 10% interest at the moment. Now, the great thing is that you can always as well move your assets over from your original Celsius account into your Digifox Celsius account. You just have to withdraw it over to the specific Celsius address, which you'll be able to find in the Receive tab of the app. And in that case, you can enter in and gain some entries to be eligible for the Invest in Yourself Holiday Challenge, as well as any future challenges. But again, it's important to bear in mind that the amount you deposit is a one-time thing. So you need to deposit new money in order to earn additional entries on future challenges.
Yeah. And it is also important to know that it will only count for the challenge if it's deposited into the Celsius account on your Digifox app.
That's correct. Yes. So if you're depositing funds in your traditional Celsius account, unfortunately, we don't work in this case directly with Celsius in the sense of the challenge. And in that case, you have to deposit it in your Digifox Celsius wallet at the moment. So next question here, what are the pros and cons to decentralized and centralized exchanges? This is a really good question here. So there's a lot of pros and cons. As I mentioned, I've been studying DeFi since as far back as 2017. And as we've started to see decentralized exchanges get more and more popular, it's due to the fact that we're starting to see a lot more benefits to decentralized exchanges. It's the reason we tap into Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, or another more complex fancy term is an automated market maker. But putting that aside in this case, let's go ahead and just talk about the benefits here. So with a centralized exchange like Coinbase, I got to be honest, the best benefit overall about a centralized exchange is it's pretty streamlined overall. You go ahead, you connect your bank account or debit card, you get some crypto. Sometimes you can get it instantly in some cases, and then you go out and buy your crypto and they custody your assets. There you go. You bought your crypto. That's great. It did exactly what they told you it would do. But in the case of decentralized exchanges, and more predominantly kind of what Digifox has to offer in this case, the big difference here is that with DeFi, in this manner, especially with decentralized exchanges, you have the ability to take on a lot of benefits. So in many cases, you can experience lower fees. So for example, through Digifox, we charge 0.49% for swaps. In the case of Coinbase Pro, which is a higher end version of Coinbase that has lower fees, you have to pay 0.5% in this case. And then on Coinbase, the fees go even larger to over 1.5%. So very higher, much higher fees in this case. We basically charge 1/3 of the fees of Coinbase. And along with that, when it comes to Uniswap, you can trade and swap at any time of the day. Uniswap is never down as a protocol because it's based on the Ethereum network, which is constantly running by miners across the world who are making it possible. Miners who are using computational power and electricity to make it happen. You're able to make swaps at any time of the day. And that's a really cool thing to consider. Now, one of the cons here about decentralized exchanges, until they move over to what's known as layer 2 solutions or scaling solutions, is that the network fees can be a bit high, and you're broadcasting these transactions onto the Ethereum blockchain. So that's a big cost for some people who are trying to do maybe $50 swaps or $60 swaps. And it's why we recommend that in this case, if you're looking to really buy a substantial position in a crypto, in this manner, you wait and make sure you make a sizable trade, because the network fee doesn't scale with the larger your transaction gets. So if you're doing a $50 swap or $5,000 swap or $50,000 swap, you're going to pay the same network fee. The Digifox fee, on the other hand, is fixed to 0.49% of the trading volume that you're trading. So hopefully that clarifies a few things. Next up here, would Digifox ever consider creating a Digifox token? The most asked question that we get on all of our webinars. Well, I'm more than happy to answer this, guys. At the moment, we have no official plans to pursue a token. It's something we've always kept open to. We know as a company, we've got to raise capital, and along with that as well, that tokens have been a big benefit to a lot of other platforms in the space. We're just not 100% certain just yet, and we'll be sure to let you all know if we decide to do some form of a token for Digifox. Now, the major thing overall is that what we've seen in the crypto space is sometimes people just create a token for the sake of creating a token. And that can maybe work if you're just trying to build something for speculation, but we want to build something that works for our community. If it doesn't work for you guys, there's no reason to build it in this case. So we would want to make sure that we make a token in this case that would work for you all. And we're going to continue to explore it, keep open to it, or possibly look down the traditional route of doing venture capital raising or another equity crowdfunding like we did back in June of 2020, where you could still have an opportunity to invest. So we're looking into it right now. We're planning for the future, and we'll let you guys know as soon as possible. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about here, I know I've rambled on a lot tonight. I want to give you guys a quick run through of the Invest in Yourself Challenge. Now, many of you out there have been curious about how you can be able to participate, win a part of this big potential prize pool of over $20,000 for just simply saving. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that now. So the mission of the challenge is extremely simple. We want to benefit those of you out there who are putting money away for your future, putting your money to work to get a yield. Very simple. The structure is the more deposits the community makes, the higher the prize pool goes. So we started out with an initial $2,500 in rewards for our community members. But the great thing is that with this challenge, the more we get of community deposits, not just one sole individual depositor, but the more we get from community deposits, as we reach certain thresholds of entries for deposits, we actually get to boost the prize pool to $5,000, to $10,000, and then to $20,000. And the great thing is that it encourages all of us to participate more. The more we participate, in this case, the prize pool rises. And this is what we call a dynamic challenge. It's something that involves the community coming together as a whole, bringing on friends and family, and getting involved in saving for our futures. And that's what we're all about at Digifox. Now, there's a few key rules here to keep in mind. First off, you have to deposit at least $100 into your Digifox Celsius account to be eligible. And we support all of the tokens for the challenge that we normally support through our Digifox Celsius integration. And it has to be deposited between December 15th of 2020, as well as January 15th of 2021. We actually extended this one day. It's on December 14th in this case that are still eligible. So if you deposited, then you're eligible as well. For each $100 you deposit, you're in an additional entry. So you don't have to stop at 100. You could deposit $1,000, get 10 entries, and by whatever amount you can imagine in your head and stuff. It's on $100 intervals per entry. You'll earn double the entries in your deposits if they're made before the end of 2020. So it encourages that you participate early, get on saving as soon as possible so you can start earning that weekly interest from Celsius every Monday. So they basically make Mondays your new Friday by getting these interest payments to your account. And what's great is all that's compounding as well. You can also earn an additional entry by liking and retweeting our pinned post and following us on Twitter. So once you follow our Twitter account, like and retweet our pinned post for the actual Invest in Yourself challenge. In that case, you'll be able to get an additional entry. You just have to share it with us on our customer support line, which is found in the profile tab of the Digifox wallet. Along with that as well, you can earn up to 10 additional entries by completing achievements within Digifox. We've got 10 achievements so far. We'll probably add some more in the future. But for now, that's a great way to boost your chances by a large amount in the case of potentially winning. And last, each entry earns you an entry in the prize drawing. The more entries, the higher your chances. So this is an important thing to note. Just because you have the largest count of entries does not mean you're guaranteed to win. We had a lot of people actually in our last challenge, some who had 4 to 10 entries that actually won, but we had in most cases the winners having a larger count of entries. So it is obviously going to boost your chances in this case overall, but we want to make sure that it's fair for people, not knocking out people who don't have that much money to deposit, but might be able to achieve some of the things like the achievements or the Twitter post sharing. We're all about bringing more people into this and giving everyone a fair shot. So what do the prize pools look like? Well, everything is paid out in USDC, but the major prizes here start off initially at $1,000, $500, $250, $125 for both 4th and 5th place, and $100 for each of the places from 6th to 10th place. But if we reach our community threshold goals for our dynamic challenge, in this case, it's going all the way up to $8,000 for 1st place, $4,000 for second place, $2,000 for third place, $1,000 for fourth place and fifth place respectively, and $800 for each place between 6th to 10th place. So we're very, very excited. We hope we can reach these thresholds. Above all, we just want to see more people saving for their future, guys. And what's great about it is that the prize pool leaps up even bigger. And we're working on continuing to refine the challenge. So if you have any ideas about how we can improve this community challenge, let us know in the customer support. We're always open to candid feedback. We've had thousands of support tickets where we've heard about whether it be bugs or recommended feedback about the application over the last couple of months. And it's really helped us improve the overall experience as well as grow our Digifox community. So quick few things you can do to boost your chances. Bitcoin is supported now in Digifox. So you can deposit Bitcoin into your Celsius address. If you've already got some sitting on exchange earning nothing, why not deposit and start earning 4.41% interest, as well as enter for a chance to win big. Second off, deposit any other eligible crypto you already own. Again, if you got crypto on exchanges, some of these crypto tokens are paying good interest rates. And that's not even considering the fact that you're also going to be able to hopefully benefit if the price continues to go up in that case. So we're very excited about that. The earlier deposit, the better. Again, with those early thresholds until the end of the year. Like and retweet our Twitter post and follow our page at Digifox_finance. Get started with achievements. Great way to get introduced to the app, but along with it as well, boost your chances by a long shot. And along with that as well, guys, above all, we just want to say that we hope you'll join us as we're continuing to grow our community together. We're all about focusing on bettering your financial future. There's too many companies out there in the world that aren't really focused on people just bettering their financial future. They want you to trade or speculate too much. We're all about you growing in this case, because if you all do well, we do well as a business overall. And we're all focused on mainly just making sure you have a great experience overall when you're interacting with finance, especially for those who are just getting started overall. All righty. Well, I have rambled on a ton, guys. We can go ahead and dive into some of the Q&A portion here. We've got about 18 minutes, so I would love to take any questions from the community.
Cool. Just to kind of clarify for some of the people on the chat, somebody wants to know if achievements are applied retroactively to this current challenge. I know they will be applied for all future challenges. I'm fairly certain they're also applied for this one too.
That's correct. So your achievements do also give you additional challenge entries. But here's the interesting thing. They're not only applicable for this challenge, but they're also applicable for all future challenges, so long as you meet the minimum requirements. So for example, for this holiday Invest in Yourself challenge, you have to deposit a minimum of $100. In this case, if you do $100 in new deposits for the challenge between those dates that we mentioned, that will make you eligible for the challenge. And if you do all the 10 achievements, you get 10 additional entries. So you have 11 right off the bat. Not bad. So we're all about just getting you through the door and trying out the application and stuff and getting a feel for it, trying different avenues of finance. So that's why we're really big about the achievements addition that we made in Digifox 2.0.
We've got quite a few different questions in the chat. Any way to create a pie chart that breaks down each asset's percentage? I think that is something that Madison was potentially looking into.
Yeah, no, I think in the long run, especially as we start doing like budgeting and portfolio management, that's something we're definitely going to explore. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's any time in our near future roadmap for Digifox, but at the same time, as you mentioned, Maddie's mentioned that before, and we've talked about that on like building our user experience. Overall, we found that most people like to have the chart growth over time, but we definitely will consider exploring that.
And then if you guys want to, and I think Madison might still be on here. If she is, could have her, and I can look for it too. But we can drop the link to product board in the chat too. And then you can go ahead and submit product ideas there. And then our lead designer will see them and be able to categorize them based on how many people. You can vote for different features too, which is kind of cool. Another question is Digifox going to connect to TaxBit? I know we are going to have tax information available for the 2021 tax season, but I don't know if we're allowed to say like what specific companies we're working with.
So we don't have any official commitments just yet to what partner we're going to be working with. But the overall goal is to make sure that you guys know above all your income statement. So for any type of capital gains or interest income, that's the critical thing with Digifox, because those are the two major actionable events. So we're either going to be providing you in this case with a CSV file in this case that you could take to a tax attorney. And we're trying our best this year in order to be able to provide you with full tax documentation that you could take to the IRS or other tax authority. It's a big goal of ours. We can't make any absolute promises just yet, but it's something we're looking forward to getting within the app.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. As Nicholas is the founder of Digifox, does he store all of his crypto on this exchange, or does he not? Where, like, basically they want to know where you store your crypto.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's definitely a personal question, but yes, I'll say in this case, I've got crypto both in my Digifox Smart Wallet and Celsius. In the case of privacy, I won't talk about how much and stuff, but in this case, overall, I mean, the major goal overall is just to actually utilize the application. And the great thing is that, to be honest with you all, the application itself is just as smooth as any other exchange platform or tool that I've used in the crypto space here in the US. The options might be different as you go across the world and what region you come from. And we want you to use whatever works best for you. If it's not Digifox, it's no pressure overall. We'll always be working to improve and hopefully be that platform for you. But yes, I absolutely use Digifox, and I've been using it even more and stuff with Digifox 2.0 launching. It's absolutely kind of grabbed my attention overall once we've seen it come to life here over the last few weeks behind the scenes and launching it just a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks really, really nice. And for those of you who keep asking, the app is down right now. Our engineers are working on getting it back up as soon as possible. So if you missed the in-app notification, that's what's going on right now. Last question I see here is your thoughts on the future of insurance industry such as Nexus Mutual.
Yeah, we talked about Nexus earlier and stuff. I think that crypto insurance is interesting. I think it's still a bit niche at the moment. I'm interested to see because I think as the problem or dilemma you run into is that crypto insurance like Nexus Mutual really only becomes really valuable if you're dealing with smart contracts that are really new, that haven't been audited, that haven't been well tested. In the case of Compound and Uniswap protocols that we've integrated into, I have full confidence that they're secure in this case. And they usually on an actual smart contract framework don't have any breaches in this case. Like, it's been working pretty well for the long run. There are some small issues that tend to be around oracles, and luckily they're able to fix these things. But outside of that, there's not really any smart contract risk so far. So I think that the longer a contract stands and there's no breaches, then in that manner, I really don't see the need for insurance for smart contracts. But it could be beneficial for some who may need it.
Mm-hmm. Another question is there a way to connect my Celsius account from within Digifox to my Celsius account that I have outside of Digifox? And I believe the answer is no at the moment.
Yeah, that's correct. So unfortunately, we've had some communications with the Celsius team. Unfortunately, they've been, as you all probably know, Celsius has been growing just like us. We've been growing like wildfire. And the major thing overall is that they don't have the time on the engineering side to make it where you can transact your account over from a traditional account through Celsius. The good news is, though, is that you're welcome to have a secondary account. You just have to go through the KYC onboarding. And outside of that, you just withdraw your funds from your Celsius account over to your Digifox Celsius address. It's that simple. So again, in this case, you're still earning interest through Celsius just like you would normally. The only thing we don't have is earning in cell interest, which a lot of people in the US and a lot of regions don't have access to. So again, same exact experience, just within the Digifox user experience. And also the ability to possibly win big in challenges.
Exactly. We have a few people in the chat that are asking about the free wallet generation and kind of how that would work. Like, how would you claim a free wallet?
Yeah, exactly. So you should get an in-app notification. If you don't have Digifox Pro, from my understanding, you can also go to the profile tab and register one. There should be a banner in the top portion of the screen. But above all, once things are back online, you can generate. Now, to bear in mind, guys, the important thing above all is we're all about, in this case, it's a promotion. We're doing free smart contract wallet generation towards the end of the year. But unless you have a substantial amount to swap, in this case, where, for example, if you're only making a $100 swap, it might not make sense to download it. We have to spend a little bit of money on the back end to make that generation happen. So
Mhm.
if you're not able to make a swap with a couple $100 to like nearly 1,000 in this case, it'd probably be best in this case to wait until you get a more sizable position and generate that contract for the back end. But it's just something, just to be transparent with you guys, there is a cost to it overall that we're paying on the back end. But it's part of the promotion with the new launch on Digifox. So if you want to make some swaps, if you've been looking forward to it and couldn't afford the Digifox Pro, you guys are welcome to set up an account. It's perfectly fine.
And then somebody asked, I sent about 680 USD to Celsius a few days before the challenge begins. Will that be counted as part of the challenge? And unfortunately, we can't count any funds that were deposited before December 14th, just to keep things fair for everyone for the challenge. And you do, I believe, have to keep the funds in there until the challenge is complete for the entries to be counted.
Yeah, like I Hope was saying and stuff, it's a really unfortunate scenario. I've had that too, where I sign up for things or I do some kind of participation. Maybe I'll buy something, for example, and then there's a free promo or something. I completely understand the frustration with that, but at the moment, yeah, like Hope mentioned, we can't adjust the challenge for that, unfortunately. But the good news is that this is one of many challenges we're going to do. We'll probably be doing one in January, probably do one in February. It's a big component of our community doing these invest in yourself challenges. Obviously, we want to get more people saving, whether it be their crypto or their stable coins, whatever it may be, getting some yield and planning for the long term and hodling.
This is kind of a fun question. You can choose to answer it or not. Nick, any speculation as to why Bitcoin broke 20K today?
Yeah, so supposedly the news that broke out today, I was wondering the same thing when I saw it happen this morning. I was like, "Oh, what happened?" So basically, the news is that there's I think it's a UK based investment firm that manages about $20 billion in assets called Ruffer, if I remember correctly. They supposedly built a over 2% allocation. I think it was around 2.5% allocation of their balance sheet to Bitcoin. Now, if you kind of do the math on in this case, I think that they were saying in the official publication that it was around like 650 to 700 million. I don't remember the exact statistic, but it was a large amount of money that they put into their balance in this case, which is really, really exciting to see such a large position being built into Bitcoin as an asset. And they basically were buying it through the management of their corporate treasurers who are hedging against inflation, which is really, really exciting. So now we're starting to see the maturity of Bitcoin being a hedging asset for people who are trying to hedge against the depreciation of fiat currencies such as the dollar and the euro, and the Japanese yen, which is a big, big sign for crypto, guys. I mean, this is just as big as MicroStrategy as well as many other companies out there who are doing the exact same thing.
Let's see here. When doing Uniswap trades, can someone influence the gas fees similarly to MetaMask?
So there's no way to actually directly control the gas fees through Digifox. We actually make sure to basically adjust it to a rate that's going to make sure your swap goes through. So there's a bit of a threshold you always have to keep in mind. We don't want you to miss out on buying a crypto at a specific price. Let's say, for example, you're making $1,000 swap and buying your favorite altcoin, right? It's probably much more critical to make sure that position gets filled, that you get your position settled and you're owning that altcoin in case you want to, you're speculating on the price going up or investing long term, than it to eventually fail. So this is a big thing overall that we think is important for the user experience, especially for those who don't understand gas overall, as Digifox is meant to be usable for everyone, as well as industry pros to beginners in the crypto space. So we basically make sure that the network fee has a very, very, very high chance of passing through. And in the case that it doesn't get broadcasted, you won't get charged the network fee in that case.
Another question, will we be incorporating an authenticator along with the user PIN for additional security in the future?
So this is a good question. The thing about an authenticator is that it doesn't really add so much more additional security to the application. The biggest thing overall that it does offer is convenience. So one thing to keep in mind is let's say you didn't have cell service while you were traveling and you needed to recover your Digifox account. Say you're visiting the UK from the US and you didn't have cell service. Although that's pretty rare nowadays, having an authenticator app would be good because you can load it at any time and stuff and get your codes even offline. And you would be able to use it for your account. So we've heard this feedback from some people, and we're definitely looking at it. And I would say the only other security, maybe advantage in this case, is that with something like Google Authenticator and a lot of these authenticator apps, they're usually localized in this case. So and in the event of like possibly some kind of breach or SIM swap, in that case, you won't have to possibly deal with that security risk. Again, we're working with our team right now, not only to explore that, but the other thing as well is we're looking to do basically third layer verification, or what's known as multi-factor authentication. So that, again, even in the event someone gets in your email and gets into your phone somehow, or SIM swaps and stuff, they still wouldn't be able to get into your account. That's the overall goal long term. But we haven't had any severe breaches or anything like that for our users so far.
That's awesome. What is the difference between Digifox and BlockFi?
Yeah, so BlockFi itself is a direct service provider. They're much more comparable to something like Celsius or, for example, Ledin. A lot of these providers that allow you to deposit crypto and earn interest and to borrow. We're more of an aggregation platform. So we also have swap functionality. We have transactions. We're adding a bunch of new features coming into the next year. But the major thing overall is that even for our deposit platforms, we allow you to earn interest through a variety of different providers. So BlockFi could be, for example, one of the platforms that we integrate into Digifox to give you options against Celsius and Compound. But it's not something we're planning to integrate just yet. BlockFi overall is a decent company. They're a good company, but the whole thing is we really prefer to use Celsius as well as Compound, as they've been industry leaders for the last few years in their respective fields of both CeFi and DeFi.
Jose asks, any plans to integrate other D apps such as Yearn, Rari, Sushi, etc.?
So we're not looking to integrate Yearn. We're not big fans overall at Digifox of yield farming. And the reason why is because it can actually pose, in the case of Yearn vaults, it can pose a lot of risk to the depositor. A lot of people don't know that, I don't want to go into too much details or be too opinionated, but when you're putting something into like a YETH vault or something like that to earn, really high yield on your Ethereum, you're basically effectively taking out a maker contract. You're basically locking up your crypto and getting stable coins, borrowing stable coins, and utilizing that in the process to basically go do a big set of jumbo different types of events in order to get some kind of yield on your ETH. And the problem with this is that you're putting risk that if the price of ETH goes down enough, you could lose everything. So we don't feel in this case that that's secure for the app. And along with that, for the other ones you mentioned, Rari, Sushi, we might add Sushi Swap in the future if it makes sense, if there's enough liquidity being added. It's definitely been a contester to Uniswap over the last couple of months. We'll see about that. But in the sense of Rari, I'm not 100% knowledgeable to where we could commit to having it in the application at the moment.
This one I might need a little bit of help deciphering. So when exchanging tokens, do you scan different DEXs to find the best price, or leverage a third party like Matcha or 1inch, or is it always Uniswap?
That's a great question. Yeah, and just basically to clarify that question, when they use the term DEXs or DEXs, they're referring to decentralized exchanges. For this case, overall, so at Digifox, we do integrate with both Uniswap and Kyber Network. We are looking again to tap into Sushi Swap and a lot of other providers. The vast majority of the time, you're going to be getting the best rate on Uniswap. This actually ended up being a very big positive for us because a lot of users who used aggregators might have, though, for the one or two trades that they made on decentralized exchanges through an aggregator, in many cases, they weren't able to claim their Uni tokens. So this was a very big issue for some users. Whereas on our app, the vast majority of users who made swaps made it through Uniswap and were able to claim, I think it was like well over like 1 point something million or 2 million Uni tokens directly just from Digifox, which was really exciting. So we like Uniswap as a protocol. It's, in my opinion, one of the most secure protocols. And it's a big reason why there's a lot of liquidity on the platform. It's one of those liquid platforms to make swaps. So we definitely, again, will continue to aggregate more opportunities. And as we do that, you'll get better and better rates as well as better fees, hopefully, for your swap. So we'll hopefully get some good competition going.
Mm-hmm. Probably last question. Lucas wants to know if the upcoming US regulations will be affecting Digifox. For example, KYC possibly coming in. If so, how do you think that it will affect it?
Yeah, so the great thing about Digifox when it comes to know your customer or AML or anti-money laundering compliance is that Digifox is completely through and through compliant. The great thing is that Digifox overall is plugging into a wide range of providers. So whether you're utilizing Celsius network, in this case, to earn interest, or in this manner, any kind of service provider where there's a custodian of assets, there's a flow of funds, or on-ramps as well. All of them have their own standard measures in order to comply with KYC and AML. So anytime, again, you're interacting with the traditional financial world where KYC and AML come into play, there is a process where you're going to have to verify your identity, usually taking a photo of your driver's license, maybe a photo of yourself, entering in some basic identification information. So we're very big about regulatory compliance. Again, sometimes it can seem like a burden, it can be difficult, but it's very, very critical in this case to make sure that as a company, we stay compliant. And we prove in this case that we're here to stay. And we really want to make sure that the overall experience is a breeze, but at the same time that we can help in any case with traditional regulations.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, if you guys have any more questions, please don't hesitate to leave us a message in the customer support chat on our website or in app. We don't respond to YouTube comments that aren't in live stream just for security reasons for YouTube. But thank you so much, as always, Nick, for being here and taking time to answer questions and go through DeFi and all this stuff. So it's always a pleasure to have you.
No, it's a pleasure to be with you as well, Hope. And to all of you who've been tuning in from across the world, we really appreciate it. We know there's a lot of you out there who've been excited about learning about more about DeFi, exploring Digifox with the new 2.0 update, as well as participating in the Invest in Yourself Challenge. And it means so much to us overall. So thank you all for joining. Hope, thank you for making the time as well. It's always appreciated. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And again, the app should be back live tonight and outside of that as well. Stay tuned for more awesome updates, some of our new token listings and new features. We're really excited to share it with you guys. And happy 20K Bitcoin. Nice thing to celebrate as well. So anyways, guys, take care. It was nice